bear with us while we dial in the balance. So I think the TLDR here is that the discovery team is tweaking that discovery algorithm to try to get more new rooms in there, because the feedback we were getting for the longest time was, hey, it's just the same rooms at the top of the most popular in the hot tabs, and why can't new rooms get discovered? I think they made like a pretty big change, and it put a lot of new rooms in there, and we saw creators notice that and start to put, there were people trying to do a lot of low effort clones and just quick rooms, and those were ranking. And then if you guys go look at the announcements channel in the Creator Hub Discord, you'll see that Chase from the moderation team was like, "Hey, we noticed this. We're working with the discovery team to try to chill out the low effort clone stuff that's happening." I think the stats where we removed 74 rooms and permanently banned 11 creators for, kind of exploiting that many times and republishing rooms, doing low effort clone rooms. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is something that the Rec Room teams inside of Rec Room have heard you on. We're working on it. There's very severe punishments being handed out to creators that are not following the three strike policy that Chase mentioned in that post. So that was a big topic I wanted to address. If anybody has questions specific to um, discovery or the hot algorithm, or um, you know rooms being actioned on that were in that um, low effort clone policy, go ahead and post that in the chat and we can take those, and I'll move on to the next kind of like big topic I saw. See someone, Pan Knight says, Rec Room is upholding their policy. Notice a ton of spam creators saying they changed their ways. Everyone wins. People make new games. Cool. Well, I mean, I think it's a pretty big signal to the community when 11 creators get permabanned. So, it's it's something the moderation team is taking very seriously. I think people are going to learn that the hard way. So, I would say don't do it to yourself. Stay within the guidelines of the creator code of conduct there. And if you have questions about, is this within the realm or not, the moderation team's very open to answering those questions through Zendesk. So if you send them something in Zendesk and you say, hey, I want to clone this room. I feel like I've made enough changes. Is this okay? Or, you know, I want to make sure I'm not going to get a 3 strike policy strike for this. Like they should get back to you and give you their opinion on it if you feel like you need that. Let me see if there's any more stuff on Discovery here. The current meta we've been seeing by someone cloning rooms, they change one aspect, chased by Queso to chased by Taylor Swift, put it on an obvious alt account as the clone republished room, and then slap it on their main as a contributor. This doesn't show. Yeah, I took the feedback that we should show contributors in, like, it should hit their portfolio, or it should be more obvious who a contributor was, so that that isn't a valid way to hide who's actually reposting stuff. The feedback from the team was like, yep, that's a valid request. We'll see if we can get to it. And in particular, on the moderation team side, they were like, it doesn't really hide it from us. We see that anyway. So it's the contributor thing that people think they're being clever and they're getting around it. It might hide it from like players, but it's not hiding it from the moderation team. So hopefully that addresses that question of um, yeah, the contributor thing isn't really a good workaround. They're still going to get the strikes and permanently banned eventually. But I do agree that it would be nice for everyone to see who the contributors on a room are as well. Cool. Someone asking about build contests. Yeah, that's one of the other things I had in my top questions. So another one
I'm
of the
happy
top
to.
questions. Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to speak
I
to
was
that
like,
one?
yeah, I'm more than happy to speak on contest. Hi, if you don't know, I'm the one who runs contests. Current plan is still for early of 2025. So it's gonna be just a little bit longer. It still is going to be Rooms 2.0, so I understand it's still a little buggy. There's still some issues with it. I promise you they're being looked at. We're still getting into it, but just keep practicing with it. I promise you, it won't be released until we know Rooms 2.0 is in a good place where creators can go in a group and build. So we're taking our time, and I promise you we won't release it until it's in a good spot. But Best thing I can say is soon TM.
Cool. Yeah, and this merges with another question that came up a lot in the creator forums, which was like, what's up with R2? When will it get stability updates? What's the roadmap for R2 looking like? And the thing I can say there is we just did our first R2 beta preview test today with a few creators. There's like 30 creators that we pulled into a private server and we gave them a bunch of updates that we made to Rooms 2.0. This is where a lot of those fixes have been going, and we heard feedback from creators that it was like, hey, a lot of these R2 updates are causing just as many problems as they're solving. So in order to make sure we're not doing that going forward, we wanted to get this group of like beta creators, separate server. We showed them a bunch of the updates we've been making today. We tested stability. It's actually looking pretty good. I would guess if the next few playtests end up continuing to look good, that sometime in January this stuff would ship to everyone. So that's the current state of R2 is there's a incredible amount of fixes and stability improvements that have hit. They're on a private server right now. We're testing them to make sure they look good. And then once we've validated once we've done, bug fixes on top of that that those creators are finding, it'll release to everyone. There's no exact timeline for that, but I would say, you know, if the playtests continue to go well, I would guess sometime in January, but don't hold me to that. And that's also a reason that we can't give specifics for the next creator contest is because that contest will be, rooms two specific. You're going to need to make a rooms two room for that. So we can't nail down a date until we've done the R2 beta preview tests, and then that'll tell us when we can uh, take rooms two out of beta for everyone, call it more stable, and then launch a contest using it. So stay tuned for more announcements on that later December, early January, I would say. If anybody has any R2 specific questions, go ahead and put that in the chat, and then maybe Eden, if you could bring up any that you think are worth answering while I go and grab another segment of questions here.
Mhm.
Um,
No worries. Yeah, I get that there's still some issues with the maker pim, but like Sean said, there are going to be fixes going out for it, especially in the beta preview, the beta. So just hold off on that. It'll get better. But we won't release the contest, and I won't, and no dates will be announced until it is in a good spot.
yeah, Yeah, we guys hear you on the R2 stability stuff. It looks, I'm sure it doesn't feel great to hear it, but it looks way better on the R2 private server right now where we're testing all this. And again, this is to make sure it's stable when we do release it again. We want to get out of the mode we were in where we were promising R2 updates and then they were less stable than we had hoped once they hit a wider population of creators. So we're trying to get those, bugs out of the way with a smaller playtest on a private server. It will take a little longer because of that, but when these R2 fixes do all land, it'll be a lot of them, and hopefully it'll be way more stable than in the past. This has been like the major focus for the UGC team for the last few months. So there's a lot of great work sitting in that private server, and hopefully we're able to ship it soon. Let's see. Another general question we had across a lot of people in the forums was, when will we have like what events will we have going forward? People brought up Rec Rocks, Rec Olympics, Invasion, Retcon, this sort of stuff. I didn't find a good answer on this. That it was last minute that I went to look for one. All we can say is contests are definitely coming back. Like we said, we're waiting for R2 to be more stable, and then we'll announce that one early next year. I can go look into what our plans are for like 2025 events outside of that. Um, I don't think Retcon's going anywhere. That's like one of our other big ones. In terms of Rec Rocks, Rec Olympics, and Invasion, I don't know. So just wanted to say I'll have to check on those or what our like events schedule for 2025 looks like. But once I know, I can, I'll post it in the forums or an announcement. Let's see, what else did we have? Did you see any good questions, Eden, in the chat while I was rambling?
A lot of questions about those programs coming back, such as like featured room, not featured rooms, featured inventions, featured dorm skins. I don't quite have an answer on that, Sean. I don't know if you have
Yeah.
answer for that one.
Yeah, we've been talking about this internally in terms of we know we had a lot of creator programs. A lot of those got, sunset or have been basically abandoned. I think this is something that Jay and I are actually going to be tackling soon. We've got a design doc on it now. I don't want to announce which ones we're bringing back and which ones we're going to announce are officially dead, but it is work that is happening right now to go look at all these things and say, which of these are we confident we can support and which ones do we want to firmly announce aren't coming back. There's, I think we're going to start by killing one and bringing one back, and the the one we're going to bring back to start with is like one of the more popular ones, I will say. I think people will be happy with it. And then what we're going to test from there is like once we brought this program back, is how do creators feel about it? Are they happy it's back? Are they submitting enough things to be featured as part of this program? So we definitely hear you that, shutting down a lot of those creator focused programs didn't feel great. I feel the same way. We definitely realize that if we shut down more stuff or make changes to those programs, it needs to be announced well ahead of time. And we need to give people notice that it's happening and explain why better. I don't think that really happened. So there will be better explanations in the future for when we revive stuff or when we kill it. And it is currently in the design phase right now between Jay and I on um, stuff that we're gonna start try to bring back. So there is light on the horizon there. There is hope on the horizon. So I'm excited to start rebooting some of those featured UGC programs myself. Let's see. Oh yeah, another thing we've been hearing a lot about recently is concerns with hackers. This has to do with people hacking events, people hacking room instances, people hacking circuits. The security team, we've funneled a lot of the feedback from creators into the security team, and they're well aware of this stuff. They are doing a lot of kind of like patchwork fixes for a lot of these things. There's underlying systems that have to be fundamentally updated for uh, some of these to be fixed. I think yeah, so I've got a little blurb here from the security team. They say we're reworking some systems to be fundamentally more secure in addition to ongoing work adding detections to catch cheaters. So every time cheaters come with like a new tool they're using, we're normally able to block it in one way or another. We just have to write something specific to that tool. There's more fundamental work happening on the back end that will make it much harder for anyone to like send signals to the client to do crazy stuff like spawn, RRO bosses. So basically, the security team just wanted to say thank you for all the feedback from you guys. They hear you. They're working on like the longer term fix that hopefully will land sometime next year for a lot of this stuff. And in the meantime, they are trying to get out specific, hacking instances that we can patch easily. It also is very helpful when you guys post stuff like this in the creator forums. So if you're seeing a specific type of hack that, or, cheater or anything that's happening, someone comes in and lags out your room or brings down an event, it's helpful to post that in the creator forums. Say like, hey, this is really interrupting the flow of my room launches or me creating rooms. And then people can hop into that thread, upvote it, say it's also hurting my rooms. I can take that to the security team. It'll give them more information on all this stuff. So it's super helpful when you guys report it. If you want to report it privately, you're also welcome to send it into Zendesk. But the creator forums is also a great place to post any issues you're having with hackers and how it's impacting your room launch events and your rooms. I think that's about all I had for top level topics. Uh, let's
I
see
would like
here.
to quickly add on to the featuring UGC stuff. We do have two programs still open, featured rooms and featured creators. So those are changed every week. If you guys want to submit, I'll go ahead and drop the links in the BC text so you guys can go and submit. But please put in some of your great looking rooms so we can feature them. The holiday season's right now, so I'm always happy if you guys would submit some like holiday themed rooms. We can get those looked at as well.
Cool. Yeah, good to call out those existing featuring programs. All right, let's go down the specific questions we got from the creator forums. The first one from RT14 was about the MakerPin contest. I feel like we've already talked about that one enough, so we can skip that. Um, Hi CO7 had the next most popular question, which was, will creator feedback be prioritized regarding rooms 2? There's still so many issues. This is kind of what we talked about with the R2 updates that are coming. It's in the private testing right now in the beta preview. So that's really the state of rooms 2 is all that stuff I talked about earlier around there's a lot of fixes lined up. And you'll be seeing them hopefully in January or February once we can validate all of that stuff. So that's the state of R2. There's a second question here that was related. The second question is about will Rooms 2 soon outshine Rooms 1.0? As in, will Rooms 1.0 ever no longer be updated with Rooms 2.0 still getting updates? Every time we get asked this question recently, it's basically the same answer. There's no plan to sunset Rooms 1.0 anytime soon. All the new feature development is happening in Rooms 2. So if you want to, be more aligned with where Rec Room is going to be updating the building tools, that's going to be in Rooms 2.0. We understand it's still got stability issues for now, but the official line is Rooms 1.0 not going anywhere anytime soon. Rooms 2.0 is the better place to be creating if you want to, be more aligned with where the tools are going in the future. Let's see. Next one we had is from rblx.robo. Will there be any progress on preventing low effort rooms in the future? This goes back to what we spoke about earlier too with I would direct people if people have complaints or concerns about low effort rooms or like low effort clones, I would go check out the creator announcements chat in here, scroll up a little bit, and then you'll see Chase posted about the Three Strikes program and how we just removed, I think it was 74 rooms this week and issued 11 permanent bans to creators who were um, doing this sort of like room cloning over and over again. So just to reiterate, moderation team very serious about this. If you have friends who are creators who are like, I bet I can get around it, I bet they can't. I would not try it. It's not worth a permanent ban where you can never come back to Rec Room and build ever again. So moderation team is taking it very seriously. Let's see here. Next one was from King Frogman YT. Can the Rec Room team try to improve circuit organization? When I'm creating a circuit on a huge project and continue it the next day, I don't know where to start because it's just a big mess. Um, I didn't have time to look into this. Does anyone on the call know anything or have any recommendations for circuit organization? Riley, do you guys or Rye Guy, do you guys have any tips for how you do circuit organization?
Not much beyond like using circuit boards or functions to kind of consolidate things into a more readable format. We do that in a bunch and run the block. We could certainly do more, but there's a chip cost there. But oftentimes, if we find a system or thing that can be consolidated into a board and it's safe to do so, like we'll pack everything up into a circuit board. And that's one way that we've been using that stuff a lot. Same thing for functions. If there's general functionality that you want to be able to call anywhere, we've kind of packed that stuff into a function. Um, those are the
Okay,
two that we've mainly used.
gotcha. I think somebody had a creator forums post on this as well with like a proposal for better circuit organization. So I would say if anyone feels strongly about better features for circuit organizing, create a forum post about that or add to the one that already exists and send me a link to that and I'll direct that to the circuits team internally and see if they've got anything planned there.
I would like
Uh,
to give some advice if that's okay.
sure.
Um, so it's very easy, especially if you're doing something that requires a lot of circuits, to get lost in what you're doing. And I think the best way to help yourself figure out what you're doing is, like Ragai said, using circuit boards. But also, when you're thinking of what you need to do in circuits, so what you need in your game or room, try to think about the individual pieces that you need, and then put those away in their own little section and call it that. Like clearly label those circuits with comments or circuit boards, so that you can forget about the details and kind of think about it as like, oh, that's right, this circuit is the thing that gave you money or whatever the thing is that it does, so that you can really focus on what you actually need instead of getting distracted by the details all the time. Hopefully, hopefully that's a little bit helpful.
Cool. Appreciate that. Let's see. What else did we have next? Eden, go ahead and interrupt me if you see any follow-up questions from like previous stuff we talked about that you think is worth speaking to.
Yeah, there was one before about R2 where somebody was asking if more people have access to the beta. I think you might have already answered this, but it'd be good to reiterate
Oh,
it.
sure. I mean, R2 is still, publicly available. That's the like publicly available part. We have a private R2 beta preview program right now where it's like a huge amount of R2 fixes that we've got on a test server that we're testing with like I think there's like 30 creators in that test. There's no current plans to add more people to that test. I think we've got enough, but if we do, um, I'll reach out or post about it, or I might reach out to people directly. I'm not sure how we would bring on more people, but yeah, that's the current state of stuff. And then once the like fixes are verified and they look super stable with those 30 creators on the private server, we'll announce like, okay, all these fixes are going out. It'll probably at that point be like R2 public beta. Like it'll be a big moment where we're like, here's a bunch of fixes. We feel like it's more stable now. And at that point, it'll just be public to everyone. There won't be like we go from 30 people to 100 to 500. It'll just be testing with these 30 people to make sure we have basic stability, and then we'll release it to everyone, I believe is the plan. So there's no like long ongoing R2 private server thing. It's just like a few play tests. Let's see. And we got a few more questions here from the forums, and then we can open it up to people coming up on stage or questions from chat. What's the timeline for performance improvements? This is from Chomper5554. What is the timeline for performance improvements for 2025 now that the memory improvements stage has been completed? Specifically, what's the time frame for goals relating to improving frame rate for standalone VR and lower end devices? So I don't have a specific timeline on this like VR perf work, but I have seen a lot of discussions about it happening internally. So I would guess you start to see updates on this hitting early next year. I think there's a lot of like getting our analytics in place and making sure we can measure this reliably internally for our testing. And then I think we'll push a bunch of fixes to it, make sure it doesn't hurt stability, that perf is actually getting better, and then we'll release it. So I think they're in the phase of doing a lot of this work, and then we'll be in the testing phase, and then we'll release. So I would say the like VR low and lower end devices perf improvement stuff, I would expect to see that going out, in the first some fixes for it in the first few months of 2025, and then I think it's really just it's a wider project for all of 2025. Like it's going to be a never-ending battle for how to shave off or how to increase frame per second on a bunch of these different devices. So if anyone wanted to check in on the like frames per second work, that's where that's at. Someone else had a question. Penguin asks, will there be a feature to add custom shirts and UGC items to our wish list? I'm pretty sure that the econ team is very open to doing this. I didn't have time to reach out to them to ask. Does anyone else on stage happen to know if we're planning to add UGC items or custom shirts to the wish list feature?
don't know if it's planned, but I don't think you'd be against it. For some reason, I thought you could already put UGC items on your wish list, but good to know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's a very easy ask. So I would guess that happens at some point. I can try to check back with that team in particular who is working on wish lists and see when they plan to do that.
I think it is on our wish list. I just don't think we're putting work towards it yet.
Okay. Cool. Let's see what else. That one noob asks, when can we expect to see CV2 PvP chips like scoreboards and the game chip? I don't have any idea on a timeline for that. Does anybody else on stage potentially know if we plan to do stuff like a scoreboard or game chip for CV2?
I don't know about officially in the works, but I do know just with CV2 in general, you can do kind of like game chips. It just won't be like a CV1 game chip where everything's in a UI, but you are able to do the same concept of it with CV2.
Right. Yeah, I think people just wanted the like ease of those CV1 chips for game chips type stuff.
Yeah, if anything, that'd be something where, hopefully in the future we'll get inventions into a spot where you can make that into you. You could just spawn that thing, not have to build it yourself.
Cool. Cloak EM asks, could we have an official way to export our maker pen shapes into 3D models? I didn't have any idea on this one, and I don't know if we have any Rec Room Studio people here, but I feel like if this happened, it would have to go through Studio.
Yeah, you used to be able to do it through Studio. I don't know if you can do it anymore. I don't think you can do it in Rooms 2 Studio, but I don't know if it's planned, but you were able to at one point.
Make sure to add it as a feature request for Rooms 2.
Okay. You're a little quiet,
Yeah, I
Orko.
think you're on the wrong mic.
Sorry.
I was pulling from a different mic, but I heard what you said. It was Orko was saying to put that as a feature request on the creator forums. So yeah, if a bunch of people want to export maker pen shapes into 3D models, let's start a thread for it. If somebody wants to do it right now, go ahead and put it in chat, and then people can pile in there. Retro Duck asked, will we ever be able to wish list and give people inventions? I feel like this is very similar to the other one asking about custom shirts and UGC items. So I think I'll just merge that into one request and get that in front of the econ team. But yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't allow people to do that at some point. Let's see. I think we're basically at the end. Yeah, I think the rest of these we've mostly covered. Just to reiterate for people, we take a lot of the questions for the AMA out of the creator forums post that I post like a week ahead of time, and then whichever ones get the most upvotes is what we bring up here. But we've basically made our way through all of those, and we've been talking for a long time. So let's go to questions in the text chat. So leave a question if you have general creator question in the text chat, and then you can raise your hand, and if we have time, we'll bring some people up on stage as well. And if people see questions they like in the text chat, just go ahead and leave like a little, upvote or emoji on it. That's how we'll know that it's a more popular question. Will more people get access to the Rooms 2 beta? So there's no real beta happening. There's like a small test server with 30 creators on it where we're doing some R2 playtests with a bunch of R2 changes to make sure they're stable. But I don't think we're gonna invite any more people to that like super small, there's only gonna be like 3 or 4 tests on that server going into the end of the year. And then I think we will either make the call to do more bug fixes or release it. So the answer is there's no real opportunity for more people to join in on that small test. And it's
calling out.
Yeah,
I'm just worth calling out too that it's completely separate, so nothing they make gets to be brought over to the like official server. Anything they make is stuck on that server forever. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. The R2 beta preview server is totally separate, and anything you build doesn't carry over. So there's no real, you know, perks to being there besides helping us fix those R2 bugs. Okie dokie. Let me see if I can. Will there ever be a CV3? I don't know. I feel like CV2 has a lot more work to go before we start considering that. When are we going to make custom vehicle tools? I haven't heard anything about that internally recently. Does anyone on stage know anything about custom vehicle tools? I assume, I think last time Gribbly spoke about this, the answer was, you know, we want to provide enough tools through like CV2 and the maker pen for people to construct them from scratch, but I haven't heard any plans for like a custom vehicle kit in particular recently.
yeah, nothing at the moment from my understanding, but also we're in the middle of planning lots of stuff for next year, so it's kind of hard to know right now.
Yeah. I think if people are like, I can't build vehicles for the purposes of like cool games I want to build, that's another great opportunity for a creator forums post. There's got to be one on custom vehicles already, or like a custom vehicle kit. So I would encourage people to go upvote that or to make one if we don't have it, but I would be surprised if we don't. Someone says, what happened to the CV2 compiler? I don't know anything about that. Does anyone on stage have any information about the CV2 compiler?
It's on ice at the moment. Not sure. I don't have a timeline or anything for that. It's on ice.
Okay. On ice. So no update. Don't really know. Any updates on full body tracking or hand tracking? Yeah, that would be a question for like Max and the Avatar team. We can try to get them back for a future AMA, but I'm not sure if anyone here's got timeline updates on that. I know Max has always said he wants to get to it. The Avatar team wants to get to it at some point though. And I think they did mention, I think you can find one of the like full body Avatar blog posts. I think they give some sense of like, I don't know if it was a timeline, but they definitely talk about how they want to get to full body and hand tracking in those full body Avatar blog posts. So I would do a search, just do a Google search for like Rec Room full body Avatar hand tracking, and I bet it'll bring up those blog posts. Let's see. A lot of jokes about CV87, so many circuit versions. Are you planning for full body tracking? I don't know if I've heard the Avatar team mention full body tracking. I know I've heard hand tracking and maybe that's part of the blog post as well. Yeah, Pack, I would do that Google search and look up like full body Avatar hand tracking, body tracking, and see what you find. It might be part of that blog post. All Day says, I love how you are making RRO games that give creators new tools. Will you keep doing this more? Ragai, do you want to speak to like, is that the plan for RROs going forward? Are they going to look like this? Are they going to be clonable, or what are we planning there?
So I was muted. Sorry. Yeah, going forward, like the idea is we want to keep expanding creator capabilities and improving those things and keeping things we make copyable. Run the block's kind of the first idea there, but you'll still see things coming out of this team that's still expanding on that stuff and improving things.
Cool. Let's see. Someone's asking about a share screen update to get higher frames per second. I haven't looked into the share screen feature in a long time. I don't even know what the status is of that. Does anyone on stage know if we're still giving out screen share access or what that looks like?
I think we stopped giving it out for now because we're going to do some updates on it later. We actually, I think, took it away from most people. Just a heads up.
Okay. Yeah, I think the screen share last I heard was like pretty unstable, and we were like, man, this needs a lot of work. So it's possible that we, delisted it. Like we took the permission away from the accounts that had it, that went through the verification process. They're still marked as having had it. We probably just removed the feature from the palette or access to it, and then it sounds like it's going to go through like a redesign, and we'll see what it looks like. I haven't heard anything about frames per second upgrades to it, but that would be awesome.
I also need to get it into rooms too.
Yeah, that's true. If we do update it, I'm sure it'll be refactored for rooms 2.0. Let's see. Okay, I'm not seeing any other major upvoted questions in the chat. And let me look at the people with their hands up. See if we can pull some people up on stage. Let's see. We got Penguin, class creator. Invite. Hello. You're muted, Penguin, if you're talking. I think maybe they're typing their question. Oh, okay. Well, just ask your question in chat.
Looks like the question is, why can't we use UGC items on Bean 1.0?
I don't have an answer for that. That's like an Avatar team question. Are any Avatar team people in the audience or anyone who has context on this?
I can speak a little bit to this just because I have some idea, which is that the old Bean avatar is running on our old system of avatars, where the new Bean is working on our newer optimized systems, and they have not been integrating the UGC avatar feature into the Bean body or into the original Bean body, the classic one, because we are planning on getting rid of it in favor of the more performant new one.
Okay. Yeah, I think technically that the Bean 1.0 probably just can't adapt to all the shapes that all the custom clothing items require. So I think it's just a technical issue. I'm guessing there's probably not plans to go back and refactor that old system. I think all of those UGC items will probably only be available on like the upgraded Bean. Cool. Thanks for the question. I'm gonna move on. Pull some more people up. I see Mary Lismus. I'll invite Mary to the stage.
Hi, it's Mama Lynn's. I have a Christmas name.
Cool. Welcome.
Hi. I actually have been asking, and I don't know if anyone can even answer this, but I'm a mom, and on the junior accounts, they can't go to a private room, which is understandable. I understand why. But in certain games like Build-A-Pet, they love Build-A-Pet. When they go in there, their creations are being griefed constantly. And so they can't go to a private room to fix that. So that way they're not getting griefed, and they're not, because they want to enjoy the game just as much as we do, just on a junior account. And is there any way that they could maybe go to like a private room that's only like a one-player private room or something, so that way they can play those games without being griefed?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I saw Orca, you came off mute.
Oh, I was just saying, I mean, I don't know any plans around it, but like it seems like a very reasonable use case and something that we can definitely, float with the team and share around. Of course, no promises or anything, but I think we can definitely bring it up and share it internally.
That would be awesome.
If you could make a creator forum like post on it, like the issue that your kids having, they're getting griefed in this sort of room. I would like for them to be able to do this. I can forward that to the moderation team and then get back to you. So if you just want to make that post and DM it to me on Discord,
Absolutely.
we can forward that for you. But there's probably a reasonable solution here. So yeah, we can get it in front of the moderation team for you.
That sounds awesome. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Let's see. Go back to people with their hands up. Let's see. ORG.
Hello?
Howdy. Hey.
Hey. I just have a feature request just to ask. I've been wondering if there's something planned for inventions. I've been asking it since like 2019, since I started. A lot of people like love to create inventions and express their creativity. But the thing is, when it's like says like used in rooms 400 or used in rooms like 300, no one knows like what those rooms are. So I was wondering if there's like a way to see what rooms the inventions are in by looking on the invention page in the future. So like you know where your creations are being used, if that's possible.
Yeah, I mean it should be possible. Like there's no reason code couldn't do that. That seems like a cool request to me. I would love to see the ability to even sort like what rooms the invention is in by like visits, right? You could be like, show me the rooms, sort by most visits, and then you could like scroll through them. I bet it would be easier to get you this feature faster through RecNet. Like, would it bother you if you could only do it on rec.net and not in game
Oh
initially?
no, I'd be completely fine if it's rec.net.
Okay. Yeah. I think
definitely
that's
make sure to make it a forum post so we can have documentation on it. But yeah.
Yeah, all of these things that people have requests for are way easier for us to make an argument with internally if we're like, hey, here's a forum post on it. It's got 150 upvotes and 300 creators chatting about it. Like the more people are showing support for it, it's easier for us to get dev time for it. So definitely encourage you to create a creator forum post. It's just forum.rec.net. Put it onto the feature requests and send me a DM once it's got, a few comments in it or upvotes, and then I can take that to the team. I also just took a note on it here in my AMA doc. But yeah, I think that's a really cool.
Is it fine if I
request.
like after this AMA just message you, because I might forget how to do it?
Yeah, that's fine. Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day, all. Bye.
Yep. Yeah, that's a cool request. That would definitely be sweet to see more information on the rooms your inventions are in. Let's see. Okay, we're almost an hour and a half in, so maybe we'll do like 8 or 9 more minutes of questions, and then we'll wrap up here, so we're not going too long. I see Winter Spirit.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi.
Sorry.
Yep,
Hi.
I hear you.
I feel like this is a very important question for the whole Rec Room community. So, do you mind if I ask?
Sure. Just try to keep it like
Alright.
under 30 seconds.
Yeah, it should be. Do you think that Gen AI for Rec Room Studio will incentivize creators to put less effort into Rec Room, like Rec Room rooms, and mass-produced rooms with AI doing all of like the textures and assets?
An interesting question.
I have a bit of a take. I mean, like, it's obviously a tough question. Rec Room's not the only company probably asking that right now. It's a huge topic in the industry. I think there's a lot of drama right now because there was an AI-generated game that had a trailer at the Game Awards, and what does that mean? What does that look like? I think at the end of the day, like, a lot of folks that are just kind of out there creating games on their own are trying to just use it to help, move along their process. And help kind of supplement the things they're not as good at. And I think we can all kind of agree that's a decently valid use case if you're like, oh, like I have no experience making textures, like I need some help making textures, or at least a starting point. how Rec Room is going to adapt to it over time isn't something that like I can really speak to. I know, we've had conversations about it, but like nothing really huge. I think, in early days, it's going to allow creators to be a little bit faster and, help kind of supplement those areas you're working in. But, what does that look like down the line when the tools get so strong that you could make a whole game yourself? Like, I think that's a question we're all asking everywhere all the time. But, can't really speak to what our plans are right now or if we even have any.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask like one more question to elaborate off of that?
Sure, if
Yes.
it's a quick follow-up.
Oh, it's very quick. Well, the reason why I asked it is because we already have a big problem with slop content, at least what a lot of people classify as that. So that's why I genuinely asked, because I feel like AI would like ruin Rec Room for like monetization.
Yeah, the concern is like someone can crank out a room in like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, and it's already happened with a creator with like one chaser room. He made like 9 of them in
Yeah,
like
I mean,
a week or two.
we've talked about it a little bit in this AMA, but there's a lot of efforts around combating that stuff. Divorcing it from like the AI and just like flow for rooms. We talked about it a bit, but a lot of efforts around improving that, making that stuff better. And I hope you're all already seeing the effects of some of it, and will continue to. I think the question of like, will AI like make that worse? Again, it's like it's hard to answer now. We don't even have AI tooling, or as far as I know, plans for AI tooling right now. So yeah.
Oh, I only like I found it on your website blog about Rec Room Studio using AI, so that's where I found it personally.
Yeah, existing Unity plugins and things like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's all I have to ask.
Sure.
Yeah, I would definitely add on to that. Like, we're not against AI. Once we get the tooling, we'll probably integrate it respectfully.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there'll definitely be a discussion with the discovery team who does like the sorting for those rooms, and I think it's potentially easy to identify if we really wanted to look into it. Like, hey, what rooms are using what AI tools? They built this massive room and published it in 3 minutes. Like, if it does become a large problem and creators are super upset about it, I think the ability, like we have a pretty good ability to detect that sort of stuff and take action on it. So I think it's just we're gonna have to see how it evolves, and hopefully the AI tools are creating like much cooler rooms, and they're supplementing people making, like, putting a lot of hard work into really cool stuff, and then they're doing like an AI generated skybox or textures or whatever, and it's like, that's fine. If we see that it's more like malicious use cases of AI, or it's being used to do low effort clone stuff, like, I think that'll become a focus for the moderation team. And then we'll probably be talking to creators about setting expectations about what's okay and what isn't, just like you see us doing with the creator code of conduct and the like, cloning stuff that we already do. Um, yeah, I don't really have a better explanation than we're just gonna have to see how it evolves right now.
Yeah. Hopefully, you guys put some good moderation into it because it could be very detrimental for everybody, I would assume.
Yeah, it could definitely go really great or really poorly. But yeah, thanks for the question.
No problem. Have a good night.
So yep. All right, we'll take a few more. I see all day invited to the stage.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so I have a super maybe quick question, but will you keep making Rec Room originals in Rooms 2.0 like you did My Little Monsters?
Yeah, it's a good question for Rye Guy and Eric.
Yeah.
Want to keep using Rooms 2 for sure. Like there's been a number of just like internal projects that have continued to find Rooms 2 bugs and ways to improve it and stuff. So at the moment, we want to keep building using those tools to make it better for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Run the Block also is in Rooms 2. We continue to we want to keep using those tools, keep improving them, keep pushing them to their limits.
Yeah, will you like maybe remake the rec center in a way for Rooms 2 just to encourage creators?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not. We don't really work on the rec center for the team that Eric and I are on, but I can ask him. I'm not sure at the moment if that's
I
on the
don't think
docket
there's
or anything.
any active plans, but there have been some conversations.
Yeah, I know every now and then we discuss like, hey, is it time to update the rec center? What would it look like? I assume if we did, it would definitely be in rooms 2.0.
Okay. Thank you for answering my question.
Sure. Thanks for the question.
We're finally gonna call
Before
it the recreation center.
Okay.
I actually love that. I do want to mention if anybody's interested in learning Rooms 2, I would jump into the first Rooms 2 template. There's also some resources on Learn More on RecNet. So go ahead and go to RecNet, go to the Creator Hub, and go to Learn. You'll find some more stuff there. But the first Rooms 2 template can help you get started.
Sweet. I see games.gg.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So will we ever get new API request for getting if a player bought a key in a specific room?
Hmm. Are
Because
there
because I remember that Will Chill also wants this too.
I haven't heard anything about API requests. Does anyone on stage know anything about this?
Oh, nothing from my end.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
would
this might
recommend
be.
making a feature request for it.
Yeah, I think this is something we'd have to run by the RecNet team most likely if it has to do with an API. What's the use case you're wanting to use this for?
So if I wanted to, if I like, let's say I have a Discord server and I wanted to add a supporter role, or
Mm-hmm.
make a bot, or just communicate outside of Rec Room,
Mm-hmm.
to make your game bigger, I guess.
Gotcha. Do you have have you created a forum post on this request?
Yeah, I have
What's
only
the title? Trying to search
let's make Rec Room work outside of Rec Room.
outside of Rec Room. Okay, I see it. More APIs. I will put that into the chat. If anybody else wants to add thoughts in there, and I will paste this into my doc and I can run it by the moderator, sorry, the RecNet team. Probably be the ones to discuss this. Cool. Well, I'm glad you created a feature request for it. I will send that creator form link to the RecNet team, who I think would be the people like creating any sort of APIs, and hopefully one of them will hop into your forum post and let you know if it seems possible or if they have any plans to do that. Every now and then I get requests for like APIs from creators, and normally they say like, you know, maybe we do it at some point. There's some security concerns. We'd have to like, you know, do it in a way that it doesn't crush our servers. So I think they're potentially open to it, but there's like some problems they would need to solve first. But I'll try to get them to post into that post. It'd be a good place for them to answer that, and then I can direct other people as this comes up to your post, and they can find a reply there.
Yeah. And also, one more follow-up question. There's lots of forms that want a chip that can send and receive API requests.
Okay. So this is just related, and people are asking for like a CV2 chip that can do API calls.
Yeah, so like if I wanted to get like a trivia questions outside or a
Hmm.
dictionary outside, they can receive it, or they could just send it out to whatever application they have.
Okay, cool. I see two results in the forums when I go look for CV2 API, so I'll gather those as well and send them along with yours.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the
All right.
question.
Yep.
Thanks for
Thank you.
creating a forum post. Makes it much easier for us. Cheers.
Mm, cheers.
Alrighty. All right, we're like an hour and a half over, or half an hour over time now. I'll do like, let's say two more. Try to make them quick. Let's see. Mr. Ink 123. Hello. You got a mic there, Mr. Ink? It's like you're typing. Okay. Do you have a question somewhere that you can repost, or you want to type it up?
Looked like he did type it up.
Oh. Will we ever have any type of voice circuit? Say if someone says something and put in an event or something, we can send a message in game chat. Voice detection. Let me look at this. Voice circuits. If someone says something, it says on a string in a circuit or event. So you're looking for something where, like, if player is talking, uh, that's an interesting request. I could only imagine we would give access to something very vague, like Rec Room's not going to send player voice data into a chip to grab like keywords or analysis out of it, because it would essentially allow every game creator to, you know, pull everything a player's saying across all the rooms, which we probably wouldn't want. But I think if you just wanted to see, like, you know, is player voice chatting, or what's the volume of a player's voice chat? Like, are they screaming because a monster's chasing them or something? That could be interesting for gameplay reasons. So, um,
I do think we already have a chip that does
oh
look
really?
at players' volume and if they're talking. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what it is?
I think it's player
Oh,
get
Um,
volume.
No,
It's discussed in that
yeah.
forum thread.
okay. Well, we did it. We shipped it.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, it looks like asked and answered.
Thanks to NG Create, answers a ton of questions on the forums.
Yeah, NG Create is all over the forums. Super helpful. So cheers to NG Create. All
Popular
right.
reports.
Let's do one more. I know it's Veraz had their hand up for a while. Bring them up. Sent an invite to them. Are you there, Veraz?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, will there ever be an increase of like the value from tokens to actual cash, like value, like um 250,000 tokens being more money in the cash out?
Interesting. Um, I haven't heard anyone talking about adjusting token prices anytime recently. I think if we adjusted the I think in order to adjust it either way, like in order to give creators more when they cash out, it would likely involve like changing the prices of tokens when players buy them, unless we're going to do like
Mm-hmm.
a global adjustment, which I guess we did, like, I don't know, was it like last year we increased the token
Yeah,
cash out amount? Um, so I mean, I guess it's possible, but I haven't heard anyone internally discussing it recently, after we did like that, additional whatever percent it was last year.
yeah. I asked that because apparently the it was getting increased a little bit, but if I remember correctly, there was also a bonus for creators, like it like
Mm,
gave you extra amount of money when you cashed out.
yeah.
Um, correct me if I'm wrong, but will that ever also get added back into the future, or was that just for like that 1 year?
Yeah, I remember we had that program where it was like for the first $15,000 you cash out, we do a matching bonus where it's like, you know, if you did the whole matching bonus, you would have made an extra $15,000.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to that program. I'm guessing it was intended to like get more people cashing out, because I think the issue we were seeing is some people were making a lot of tokens and they were just sitting on them, and we were like, man, these creators have just like tens of millions of tokens sitting in their account. Like, let's give them a reason to cash out, because we'd like to see creators making money off their games and creations and supporting themselves with it. So I think that's the reason we provided that incentive, was like, let's see if we can get more people to cash out and actually use this system that we built. And I think we did. And then I think people were like, okay, it looks good. So I bet if we did another incentive, it would look different. But um, yeah, I haven't heard of anybody talking internally about like doing that, bringing that exact one back. Um, yeah,
Okay.
so that's all I know.
All right. Thank you. That
Sure.
was my question.
Yeah, I think if you have a proposal for like, hey, I'd love to see an incentive for this sort of thing with creators, or I'd like the token cash out amount to increase, like, can't hurt to put it in the creator forums.
All right. I'll make sure to do that.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. All right. I have got to go eat something because I haven't for quite a while. So we're gonna call it there. Um, if you didn't get your question answered, um, please create we've been saying it all night, but create a forum post for it. I will grab the forum URL. It's just forum.rec.net, but there it is. So drop a forum thing. If you feel like it's not getting looked at after, a week or two, feel free to send me a direct link. I always make this offer every AMA, and I'm surprised at how few people actually DM me. Like, DMs are open. It might take me a while to get to your DM. Sometimes my DMs get very backlogged, but for real, please, like, create a forum post, get some comments in there, get some upvotes, send it around to people that you think agree that you need that, then send it to me, and I'll try to reply myself in there, or send it to the team that can get you a reply. So we definitely want to make really good use of the forums, because it's just much easier for us versus having to answer all these questions in like Discord DMs, and then they just live in our DMs and nobody sees it. The forums are actually like searchable by Google, so if anyone ever has these questions in the future, we can just say Google it. You'll probably find an answer. Search in the forums, you'll find an answer. Um, you know, devs reply in there, and it's just much easier for everyone to see that way. Um, yeah, thanks for everyone for coming. Thanks to everyone who submitted a question in the forums and upvoted. It's always helpful to get those kind of like primary creator questions out of the way before we open it up. And yeah, this will be the last one before January. So happy winter break to everyone. Everyone enjoy the holidays. I know a lot of people are going to be, out of school or taking time off. So, enjoy your time in Rec Room, enjoy your time with family, and we'll see you back in January.
Yeah, make sure to give a huge thanks to Sean for hosting these every month. It's amazing at getting everybody together, answering these questions.
Yeah, hopefully we just keep growing them and next year.
Sean's being modest about hosting this and a very long playtest today. So he said a very long day, but we all appreciate the work he's put in today.
Thank you, Sean.
You're
Thank you, Sean.
welcome. Did anybody else have anything before I end it that you want to announce, or closing remarks?
Oh yeah.
Well, Marisa, not yet. You hold
Okay,
on to
fine.
the true closing
Just
remarks.
quick thank you to all the creators who showed up today and given feedback and being here with us, bearing with us. Appreciate everybody in our community.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's been a long year. We understand it's been a struggle with a lot of the Rooms 2.0 stuff, but based on the playtest we had today on the test server, it's looking much, much better. So, I mean, one of the things I'm most excited about early 2025 will be getting you all those R2 updates and seeing what you think, because from my point of view, it's looking much, much better. Okay. I think we're
All
ready to
right.
really close it out.
All right. Remember, be creative and give it your Rec Room best. And thank you guys so much. And I can't wait to go through your awesome shops in the Rec Holiday Market.
Oh, yeah. I need to get in there and check that out. Okay. Well, I guess also Happy New Year. We're not going to see you guys. We're not going to do one of these until January. So Happy New Year to everyone, too.
I'll see you guys all next year.
Yep. All right. Enjoy the rest of
Cheers.
2024, everyone.